All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel, The Best Loser. Today is Friday, the 12th of December 2025. All right. It's 4:22 p.m. right now, and it's time for me to do the weekend Forex forecast for the upcoming week. As usual, guys, we're going to be kicking things off with the economical calendar. So let's head over to Forex Factory and see what we have, from an economical perspective, from a fundamental perspective going into next week. Well, this week was actually a very loaded week. We had, the FOMC release interest rates from different central banks. And also going into this week, we also have a few, interest rates decisions as well. So again, anticipated volatility as always. But without getting ahead of myself, let's take a look at the economical calendar and see what we have. So on Sunday, we don't have anything on the calendar, but then going into Monday, okay, the 15th of December, we do have the CPI, okay, CPI data coming out from the Canadian axis, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. Expect this to move the markets, okay, obviously for the Canadian dollar pairs. Now, going into Tuesday, we do have the Clementine change. This usually, moves the markets for the pounds pairs. Obviously, we do have, the PMIs, okay, you have coming from the German, from the all the different types of PMI, so to speak, from France, from Germany, and so on and so forth. So the Euro pairs, obviously, in these brackets, you want to, be careful trading the Euro pairs, because again, anything can happen. Okay, this usually sometimes the French PMI might come out and give you a bullish move, and then only for the German flash manufacturing PMI to be released, and then from there, boom, the markets changes direction. So again, be very, very careful when you are trading these PMIs, or if you're going to be in the markets during the release of this particular news. Usually affects the Euro pairs. Now, obviously, in a similar manner, if we take a look here at 4:30 a.m. Eastern, we do have the PMI coming out from the British axis, and on the same day, very, very interesting, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time on Tuesday, December 16th. It's a very, very key time. We do have a lot of high impact news, okay, on the economical calendar for the US dollar. Okay, so as you can see here, we do have weekly employment change, we have the core retail sales, non-farm employment change, retail sales, unemployment rate, you name it, all of this coming out at the same time, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. So guys, this is a time that there will most likely be very, very high volatility in the markets, okay, especially across the US dollar pairs, okay. And just a few, let's say 1 hour 15 minutes later, 9:45 a.m., we do have the PMI data coming out from the US axis as well. So again, this is going to be a high volatility day. So Tuesday is pretty much the D-day for next week when it comes to fundamentals. Okay, all right. So now going further down, we do have on Wednesday, we do have the CPI data, 2 a.m. Eastern. All right, CPI data coming out from the British axis. That is going to be a high impact news as well, impacting the British pounds. We do have GDP data impacting the New Zealand pairs, 4:45 p.m. Eastern, and then on Thursday, 7 a.m. Eastern, interest rate decisions. Okay, we do have the MPC official bank rate votes, so we are expecting a deviation here. So let's see how they're going to vote. Okay, and again, we're also expecting a drop in 25 basis points, okay, for the pound. So again, this is most likely going to be a news that will move the British pound pairs. Okay, it's most likely create volatility across the British pound pairs. And again, just about an hour later, we do have the main financing rates. Okay, the pretty much the interest rate decisions coming up from the European axis, expected to stay the same, but again, hey, be very, very careful. 8:30, 15 minutes later, okay, you can see we are literally going by the minutes right now. 15 minutes later, we do have the CPI data, okay, coming up from the US axis. Again, hey, this can easily move the markets, okay, unemployment claims. So it's a lot of high impact. We do have tentative CPI release as well. So it's a lot of fundamentals in the economical calendar to move the markets next week. Oh, still speaking about that, we have the Bank of Japan policy rates. Rarely, but we are seeing that there's a possibility of a change, okay, in their policy rate. So that's something to keep an eye on, okay. Keep an eye as well on this Bank of Japan press conference, okay, because again, this can, this can be a very, very huge determinant of how the market is going to be behaving, those yen pairs. Okay, so again, be very, very careful. Personally, I like to stay away when the news is about to be released, especially the high impact news. All right, so I like to stay away. I don't like to have my position open, especially for those particular instruments that the news is about to be released. Okay, so again, that is something to keep an eye on. So a lot of fundamentals on the economical calendar. So now, without any further delays, let's get into the charts and see what we have from a technical analysis perspective. As usual, we're going to be kicking things off with DXY. Now we're taking a look at DXY from the daily charts. You can see, obviously, this week again was a very bearish week. Okay, you can see we started off looking bullish, but then if you guys remember in the midweek forex forecast, I told you guys that hey, this could easily be a retracement for the markets to start again dropping heavily to the downside, and that was pretty much what happened. Personally, I knew that again, as long as we are staying below this level at that particular point, that the markets, the bears were still in control. And well, obviously the bears are still in control now, creating new lows, and again, this becomes the level of significance right now, in my own opinion, based on the price action that we have printed so far in the charts. Right now, taking a look, obviously we do have this demand zone right here. Okay, you can see this is where the boost pretty much came into these markets. Okay, now you can see this was a key level. Okay, with the markets took off this level to the upside, creating this demand zone in the process. Well, the market has dipped in, and you can see that this is pretty much where this nice push to the upside originated from. However, this move to the upside failed to take off this high that we have in this area. All right, so you can see upon a second retest, okay, we still failed to take off that level. So again, we are running out of momentum, and that is how you can see these markets begin to tumble again. So the question now is, well, what happens in this area? Okay, are we going to have enough bulls in this market to start pushing this market now clearly to the upside, to clearly break above this level that we have here, 140 level, or are the bears now going to take off this demand zone to the downside? Okay, so again, only time will tell. Okay, I am not a fortune teller. I'm just analyzing and seeing what is going on in the markets based on the price action that we have printing on our charts. But so far, one thing is very sure: we are now slowly approaching a demand zone from the longer time frame. However, from the daily time frame and even from the 4 hours time frame, you can see that hey, this market, the bears are in control. The market is what? Printing lower highs, all right, and lower lows. Okay, we've taken up this level, and you can see the market gave us a little hesitation, and again, we're printing new lows. So the bears are in control. Doesn't mean that we cannot get a push to the upside, but as long as we are remaining below this particular level right here, as you can see, I have my alert at that point, because again, that is where the market pretty much begins to change bullish. Let's say the bulls come into this market and push above this level, then that is usually going to be an indication for me that again, the bulls are getting into these markets and probably taking over, and from there the markets can probably start again trending to the upside. But as long as we are remaining below this particular level right here, right now, the bears are still in control. Okay, so that's pretty much what I can see right now, at least from the daily charts of the DXY. Now, if we go into the 4 hours time frame, the picture becomes even clearer. You notice that again, we do have obviously this very nice supply zone. You can see very tight. Market just takes off again, momentum to the downside. Okay, so again, I'm keeping a very close eye on this one. Let's say early next week, if we get the markets begin to pull into this supply zone area and we begin to get clear reversals in the small time frame, I'll be looking for opportunities to go short for further continuations to the downside. Okay, and again, we were going to be slowly but surely now getting into that particular demand zone in the daily. So that is an area to be careful, because the markets can begin to break levels of structure, and then from there we might start searching for long opportunities for further continuations to the upside. Okay, so be very, very careful as we go into next week. Again, remember, we have all those fundamentals on Tuesday, so that is something to keep an eye on. You can see all of them are pretty much coming out at the same time, so if they are all aligned to be dollar positive, then this can easily be the catalyst that we need to give us that bullish push to the upside. Okay, so that is something to keep in mind. Now, that's pretty much it for DXY. Again, as usual, guys, I'm going to be updating you guys based on how the market develops. Okay, in my Discord charts, I'm going to be in my Discord server, I'm going to be updating you guys. So if you're interested, feel free to join. It is free. All right, so that's pretty much it for Dixie. Next up is going to be Euro US dollar. Now, Euro US dollar is almost the opposite of the Dixie, even though sometimes you can see that it is off, but again, it's close enough. Now, taking a look at the Euro dollar, you can see that again. Well, we had another bullish week, third bullish week in a row, okay, but we are slowly but surely approaching thin areas, okay, in these markets, okay. You can see 1775 seems to be the area of interest, in my own opinion, okay. And easily these markets might be slowly but surely approaching those levels, and you never know, the markets can begin to turn around from there. Who knows? But again, that doesn't mean I'm just going to blindly go and sell from 1779 or 1780. Nope. Again, this move in this area still shows that there's a high chance that this could be the high in the euro dollar. And again, until we take off this level, that would be an indication that this market can really continue to the upside or to the downside. I know it sounds crazy, but again, that is what we're seeing. But again, based on the price action that we are seeing right now, based on how the market is moving, obviously you can see that the market was printing lower highs and lower lows in this area, respecting supply zones on its way to the downside. However, if you pay attention, slowly but surely, we got this nice push to the downside that broke this level of structure, creating this supply zone in the process. But something interesting happened here. The markets gave us a push to the downside, but we could not take off this low. And then from here, what happens? We get a push to the upside, giving us now, after the interest rates are released, we now have a close above, okay, this level right here, okay? You see that hesitation? This was the hesitation before the interest rate release. And now we've gotten a clear break to the upside. So again, this is almost like what you would consider in these days terminology, a change of character, okay? So again, this is now, interesting for the bulls, because again, we now have new demand zones that are now forming on our charts, okay? So again, the markets can bounce off of the 4 hours time frame, in my own opinion, for further continuations to the upside, or from here we might just react and then go into this particular demand zone that we have in here in the daily for even a bigger swing to the upside. Who knows? Okay. And this is also another possibility, and that is why I have my alert here. It is only going to be turning bearish until we break and begin to clearly trade below these particular levels right here. That is only when the bears are now going to be showing me that they are laying some form of stake in these markets, and then from there, that is the only time I will expect the bears to start coming into this market. But based on the current price action that I'm seeing right now, this market is bullish. We have closed above this level. We have also even closed a candle above this level as well, as you can see right here. So the bulls are in control in these markets right now. Make no mistake, that can change with even the fundamentals that we have on Tuesday. So take whatever that I'm saying right now with a pinch of salt and just align with the markets as the more price action develops. Okay. All right. So from the 4 hours time frame, you can see that the level gets clearer. Just similar to the Dixie, we do have this particular demand zone area sitting around that 1.1700 institutional price level. So again, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this one. Market opens, we get a push in here, reversals. I might be shooting again to the upside. From there, looking for long opportunities. If this doesn't hold and we begin to break, then chances are we are now heading into the demand zone that we have, like I showed you guys on the daily. And from here, the markets can again give you another reversal for further continuations to the upside. Now, if none of this happens, and let's say the market comes out and we start pushing clearly below these levels, then that will open the floodgates for the bears, and I believe that from there we can start searching for short opportunities for further continuations to the downside. Now, in the event, let's say the market opens and from here we begin to shoot to the upside again, as usual, breaking this level of structure, then we start looking for demand zones that form and align with the markets, wait for tests and further continuations to the upside. It is that simple, guys. It's a lot of patience that is required in these particular moments. Okay, so for those of you in the Discord, you notice that I have been quite will I say selective, okay, with the trades that I'm taking. Whole week I think we took either 3 trades or 4 trades, I can't even remember. But again, in times like this, it is more important for you to, keep an eye on the risk, be very, very focused and, in how you, will I say, get in on the markets, okay, so to speak. Don't just be in the markets for being in the market's sake. Be in the markets because there is a clear setup that meets your trading strategy, or that satisfies everything in your trading methodology, okay? All right. So without getting ahead of myself, and again, for those of you who are interested in getting my, will I say, updates, okay, my potential trade ideas and my live trades, feel free to join the Discord channel. Okay, the link is going to be in the comment section that I'll pin the comments, and also in the description box. All right, so that's pretty much it, guys, for Euro US dollar. Next up is going to be British pounds and US dollar, as you can see here. Now, British pounds US dollar, if I take a look at a weekly candle, again, third bullish week in a row, but you notice again, we got a very nice push to the upside, but we are ending the week with a significant retracement. Okay, is that an early indication of weakness? Who knows? Looking at the daily charts, you notice that 2 days ago we got a very nice push to the upside, but again, we managed to close that a pin bar, okay, as price ran into this particular supply zone area that we have here. Okay, so you can see, could this be an early indication of weakness for further continuations to the downside? Who knows? Like I said, only time will tell. Now, we are noticing that again, the markets are pushing to the downside, but again, we are still bullish, at least from the 4 hours time frame. Now, from the daily time frame, this market is still bearish. I know it looks like the bulls have been doing a whole lot, but again, if you pay attention here, we do have this key level of structure right here. All right, and again, it was this move right here that led to the break of that level. So again, this is where the key level is at this particular moment when we are looking at the daily charts. As long as we are trading below that level, guys, this is still a bearish market, but we are slowly building bullish momentum. All right, and especially if we go into, let's say, the 4 hours time frame right now, this is what a nice bullish move. Okay, so again, it's very, very important you understand will I say where key levels in the markets. Okay, and there's a reason why I have my alert here, and also I can easily have an alert here, because again, this is the level where if the bulls begin to break next week, then that is going to be a clear change of character, and that might mean that this market might be going to the upside. Okay, let's see. Now, going into the 4 hours time frame, we see how this market has been printing higher highs and higher lows, as you can see here. If I think we actually have a nice trend line. This is the trend line right here. Okay, probably it's even a channel. Let me see. Do we have a channel? Maybe something of this nature. Okay, so you can see we do have this rising channel in British pounds and US dollar in the 4 hours time frame. The markets gave us a push to this area. Finally, we got a little hesitation around this previous swing high area, and finally we got a momentum push to the upside. Okay, the bulls came back again, creating this demand zone in the process. This is a trade that I would have been very, very interested in. However, this is Friday, so again, I am not so interested in taking this position, so that is why I am letting this go. But as you can see here, we got a very nice retracement into that particular demand zone to test that trend line with a pin bar rejection off of that trend line, and again, that is really nice, let's say, indication that the bulls are still protecting this area. So again, I'll be keeping a very close eye on this one when the market opens next week to see how the price develops. Okay, okay, but so far so good. It's looking as if we have some bullish rejection off of this particular area. So again, very easily the markets can give us another swing to the upside, but in the event that that doesn't happen, okay, and let's say the markets begin to just break these levels, okay, so again, that might be the first sign of weakness. But before the bears can lay any claim in this time frame, we have to take off this level right here. So that is why I have an alert sitting there, and if that happens, then upon pullbacks, I'll be looking for supply zones that form, all right, for further continuations to the downside. Okay, that is going to be my what I would love to see in this particular pair. Because like I told you guys in the earlier weekly forex forecast videos, I told you guys that GU is in a longer term downtrend. But again, what happens is when you're getting a retracement in those longer term trends, it's usually a trend in, let's say, the 4 hours or even the daily time frame. Okay, so that is something to keep in mind when you're trading these particular setups. Okay, all right, so enough of that particular analysis. Next up is going to be Australian dollar, US dollar. I don't have much in this pair. This pair has just been shooting to the upside. There's a key level right here around, let's say, 0.6627 area. The market has now tested it a couple of times, but it's almost like we are running out of steam right now, because again, previously we have not had any issues making higher highs and higher lows, but you can see we upon the last dip into this particular demand zone area, this push off is not making a high yet. All right, so again, this could be the first sign of weakness. Let's see, do we take off this high next week? If we do, well, the bulls are still in control. If not, and the market begins to clearly break below this level right here, that might be an indication that, well, the bears are coming into this market, and again, we have to start searching for supply zones for further continuations to the downside. Again, only time will tell. That's it for Australian dollar, US dollar. Next up is going to be New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Very similar to the Australian dollar, US dollar. I'm still keeping an eye on this particular level right here. In my opinion, this is the level of interest. Let's see how the market develops next week. Do we bounce off of this demand zone area? Who knows? Or are we going to break to the downside? When we start trading below these levels, then the bears can start coming into this market, and we might get a move of this nature. Now, in the event that, let's say, the market does not even retrace into this area and we start breaking to the upside, again, very simply, we just start analyzing the markets again based on the price action that forms, and we start identifying demand zones for further continuations to the upside. That's pretty much it for New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Next up is going to be US dollar, Canadian Swiss francs. Now, this pair again, if you guys remember, we are keeping an eye at this demand zone area, okay, right around here. Again, when the news got released, boom, this market tumbled. We hesitated a little bit inside this demand zone. You can see this green candle, that is your hesitation, and a decision was made to break this to the downside. So the bears are in control right now, make no mistakes, okay? Again, we're getting a retracement, and very, very possibly, I'm keeping an eye, obviously, at this supply zone right now to see how the market is going to react when we get to that area. So if we get here and let's say we begin to get reversal patterns, then chances are we might get another push to the downside. Again, obviously, we don't just go short. We have to wait for the reversal. In the event, let's say the market gets here and we start again breaking these levels, then who knows? We might easily attack these levels. That will be probably the next level that the markets will try to take off, if we are going to the upside. So again, there's a lot of waiting game to be played here. So let's see how the market develops as we go into next week. That's it for US dollar, Swiss francs. Next up is going to be US dollar, Canadian dollar. Now, this pair, again, like I told you guys, is in the daily, not daily, it's in a monthly demand zone. You can see this is the demand zone I'm talking about that led to the break of this level of structure. The market reacted, okay, and well, this is a pullback so far. We have not taken off this low, so this is still a pullback. I would not be surprised in any way if from right around current market price, this market begins to give us some, turn around to the upside. I would not be surprised at all. As long as we are not taking off these lows that we have in this area, this market is still technically bullish, in my own opinion. Okay, so again, I know it is dropping heavily, 3 weeks of bearish move, but again, hey, that's nothing. It could easily be similar to the move we have here. 1, 2, 3, and then boom, a new swing to the upside. So that is very, very possible in this particular area as well. But I just want you guys to have an idea. This is not me just hoping. Obviously, I'm not in any trade right now in US dollar, Canadian dollar. So I'm not hoping. I'm just going based on the price action that I'm seeing. This is clearly a demand zone that led to the break of this level of structure. We have dipped into that demand zone. The market has actually shifted, okay, because again, this was the level of interest right here. So the market has given us a candle close above that level. So again, we are getting a pullback right now. We are into these demand zone areas. Markets can easily from here give us another push to the upside. That's all I'm saying. Okay, all right. So that's it for US dollar, Canadian dollar. Again, the bears are still in control right now. Remember, this is the weekly time frame. This is 3 bearish weeks. So it will take some time for the bulls to turn this around, okay? But again, like I said, if you're trading the longer time frame, then chances are you are going to be interested in long opportunities from these lower prices that we have right now. But again, from the first perspective, the bears are still in this market, you can see that this is a clear downtrend. The market is scoring lower highs and lower lows. So again, just wait for dips into supply zones, and then you can start searching for reversals, short opportunities. Okay, but for right now, this is pretty much what I can see right now. Okay, so the bulls will have to come into this market, obviously begin to take off these levels that we have around here. Okay, this will be the first point of interest, okay, for the bulls. Okay, they will have to find a way to take off this level right here. Okay, and that will be the first indication that the bulls are coming into this market, and then upon pullbacks into demand zones, I'll be looking for reversals for further continuations to the upside. Okay, all right, so that's it for US dollar Canadian dollar. Now next up is going to be US dollar Japanese yen. Now this pair, obviously, if you guys remember from the midweek forex forecast, I was actually keeping an eye on this level. This is one of the areas I was keeping an eye on. We got this tap in and the bullish reaction. I went long, and you can see I got stopped out. Hey, that's part of the game. But it seems that, well, this is not the area that this market is respecting at this point. We actually got a dip into this particular area right here. Okay, and the market seems to be reversing right now. But again, obviously, I'm keeping an eye on this particular level. This is the level that the bulls will need to take off. We are not yet there, but again, I'm keeping an eye on it, a very close eye. Obviously, what I would like to see now is for the markets to give me a takeoff of that level. Then obviously, I'll be keeping an eye at 15600 for possible continuations to the upside. Okay, because again, from the daily charts, obviously, this is a demand zone. The market has tapped into that demand zone. We tapped again, and you can see the bullish reaction we are getting in this market. So obviously, we are generally bullish from the daily charts, but again, we have to wait for the markets to give us a reversal, okay, to show us that the bulls are now in charge in this market. And then from there, we can start searching for long opportunities for further continuations to the upside. All right, so that's pretty much it for US dollar Japanese yen. Next up is going to be British pounds and Japanese yen. I won't waste your time here. Generally bullish. You can see obviously the trend is to the upside. Okay, not much, to be completely honest. The market is almost in a range right now, as you can see right here. This is pretty much the range that the market is stuck in right now. So what would I want to see? Personally, I would want to see this market give me a break to the upside. Okay, I personally would want to see the bulls come into this market, begin to take off these highs that we have around here, 20900 decisional price level, and then clearly if that happens, there will be demand zones printing in our charts, and now we'll be waiting for the markets to give me pullbacks into demand zones for further continuations to the upside. Keep in mind that we do have high impact news. We have interest rate decisions for the pounds next week. We have interest rate decisions for the Japanese yen next week. So keep in mind that we do have significant decisions from a fundamental perspective. So be very, very careful as you trade this pair next week. All right, Euro yen. Very ugly looking chart at the moment, to be honest. Generally bullish. We have finally broken off of that supply zone. The markets gave us a little pullback, and then we are getting another push to the upside. Okay, we have a demand zone here, but it's not looking so nice. Can the markets easily give us let's say a dip into this demand zone area and then give us a continuation? Yes, very, very possible. Again, we have this demand zone from the daily charts, quite far from price right now. So to be honest, I'm not going to waste my time analyzing that. But let's say from the current market price, let's say the market just continues to the upside, then we just readjust and identify demand zones that form in the smaller time frames and wait for the markets to give us a push to the upside. I'm not so keen on going shorts as far as we are remaining above these levels. Okay, so if the market is doing something of this nature, I'm going to be looking for this demand zone to hold. If it does and we get reversals, I'm going to be looking for continuations to the upside. If it doesn't and we begin to clearly break below this low, you can already see that we are going to be most likely running into the demand zone that we have in the daily, and the markets can easily from here begin to give us another push to the upside. So this is a very tricky one. We have a 4 hours demand zone that is very close to the daily demand zone. You have to be very careful going against those particular zones. All right, so that's pretty much it for Euro yen. Next up is going to be Australian dollar Japanese yen. I just have a daily level in this pair right now. Okay, it's very, very possible. Let's see how the market moves. The bulls can easily from here begin to give us a clear push to the upside, taking off these highs, and again we just have to continue to flow with the markets. Now if that doesn't happen, and let's say the bears come into this market, Then the key area for me here is going to be around 102 institutional price level. If we get there into this demand zone, any reversals from here, I'll be looking for opportunities to go long for further continuations to the upside. Again, this is the daily chart, so this might take a while to pan out, okay? But based on current price action, there's not much that I'm seeing. You can notice that again, the markets gave us a dip into this particular demand zone. I was actually keeping an eye on this demand zone, but again, it was looking weak. In my own opinion, you can see how the markets gave us a push in, push out, push in, couldn't quite take off that level. We're getting very significant bearish pressure. So a lot of taps already in this demand zone, so I'm not so keen, in this particular demand zone. So that's why I'm not saying anything when it comes to this particular demand zone. So yes, I'm not so interested in this one. All right, so again, if anything develops, let's say the market opens next week, and from here the market begins to give us a push to the upside, taking off these levels, there'll be demand zones forming, and I'll continue to just read price action, accordingly. All right, so that's it for Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Next up is going to be Euro Australian dollar. Now, in Euro, oops, 1 second, let me clean up my charts. 1 second. All right, so in this particular pair, I'm tracking a supply zone from the daily charts, okay? As you guys remember, I am expecting this market to be generally bearish, okay? Obviously, we do have this supply zone from the daily charts. 1 second, let me show you guys the supply zone that I'm talking about. We do have this key level of interest, okay? This key level in this area that was broken, all right? And this supply zone was created. So market is now dipping back into that supply zone area. I would want a deeper push into, let's say, 1.7700 institutional price level. From right around there, any reversals will be high quality, in my own opinion, for further continuations to the downside. So again, I'm keeping an eye on this one, and I'll keep you guys posted on the Discord. All right, so that's it for Euro Australian dollar. Next up is going to be gold. Okay, all right, so gold again gave us a very nice push. You can see a bullish week. Obviously, we are now very close to those previous swing high areas. Okay, so bullish, in my own opinion. You can see we did have a very nice trading inside this particular range. Okay, the market stayed in this range. And one of the scenarios that I talked about in the midweek Forex forecast, guys, was I told you guys that I would like to see the markets give me a push to the upside, breaking off of this range. The market has broken off of that range. Earlier today, we did get a pullback into this demand zone area and also retesting the top of this range, and the bulls are coming back into these markets. Like I said, this is Friday. I'm not looking to go long off of the longer time frames. Personally, also, I'm also keeping an eye on this particular demand zone here. What I would love to see is for this market to give me another rotation to the downside. If we can get that into this particular demand zone area, anywhere from right around here, any reversals, guys, I'll be looking for opportunities to go long for further continuations to the upside. But right now, we are looking more bullish than bearish, okay? The market is making higher highs and higher lows, taking off level of structures to the upside. So there's no reason for me to be talking about shorts right now. The only time we can start having a conversation about shorts is if this market begin to break clearly below this particular level, okay? Then maybe upon pullbacks, we start searching for supply zones that form, all right, for possible continuations to the downside. But based on the price action that I'm seeing right now, we can easily continue to the upside from here. In that case, I'm just going to miss out on this. Personally, I would like to see the market give me a rotation to the downside to, into this particular demand zone from where the move started, and then from here, any reversals, I'll be looking for opportunities to go long for further continuations to the upside. That's pretty much it for gold. Next up is going to be silver. Silver is looking more tempting, very nice push. You can see the swinging pattern, nice bullish trend we have in silver. Okay, we got a dip into this particular demand zone area, but again, this is happening in way too much bearish momentum. All right, it's not really giving me a level to keep an eye on. Okay, but I saw this happen. I was keeping an eye on this demand zone, looking bullish from right around here, to be completely honest. So hey, well, you have to pay attention to the anatomy of the markets. If the market is not behaving exactly how you want it to, you just have to let it be. All right, so again, this is looking bullish. We are tapping into this demand zone. Again, this is Friday. The markets can open next week and open below this demand zone. Anything can happen. All right, so keep that in mind. But based on the price action that I'm seeing right now, we are looking bullish in silver from these demand zone areas. Now, the last but not the least is still Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin, again, you can see we finally have made it into that particular demand zone that I told you guys, the supply zone that I told you guys that we have on the daily charts. All right, so from here again, the bears can come into this market very easily and continue to make new lows, which is going to be my preferred action. To be completely honest, I would prefer to see Bitcoin get towards, let's say, 65k 70k area. From there, any reversals from there that is clear in my own, in this market, then I'll be interested in searching for long opportunities. But for right now, as long as this market is remaining, based on the price action we have, as long as we are remaining above this level, guys, this is still a bearish controlled market at this point. So this supply zone can hold, okay, and we can easily take off this low from right around here, right? We can even get a push to the upside into this bigger supply zone, and from here the markets can still give you a push to the downside. But if we begin to take off this level right here, okay, let's say we begin to take off this level, then any demand zones that form as well will be nice opportunities to searching for long opportunities for further continuations to the upside. But let's see how it goes. Again, it's a lot of waiting. Patience is required in this business, and you must have lots of patience to have a chance to succeed in this business. So hopefully you gain some value from this particular video, guys. If you did, please do not forget to like and subscribe, and also drop a comment in the comment section, letting me know your thoughts as well. All right, cheers, and enjoy the weekend. Bye bye.